being from Jersey, do you love Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen?
I love Bon Jovi. I love Bruce's music. I don't like what happened to him with the politic nonsense. That's my whole thing with that is, and you should take note of this being a celebrity singer, is that stay in your lane. You know what I'm saying?
So
like,
you don't like what the Dixie Chicks did?
No, I don't like any of it. Like, stay in your lane.
Right.
Like,
well, actors too.
I don't like it at all. Like stay in your lane. Like, if you're gonna be an actor, a musician, like, you're making money doing that.
Entertaining.
Entertain people. Don't, like, that's when I lost like Robert De Niro, all that stuff. And I'm not even talking about Democrat, Republican stuff. I'm just talking about in general. Like, whatever you believe it. Don't bring me and my world into your you know? So that's my only issue with Bruce Springsteen.
Hey there, hot messes. Welcome to Success of a Hot Mess, where we celebrate the art of juggling life's chaos and coming out on top. I'm Stacey Isaacs, your host and resident rock star lawyer, dance mom, and survivor. We're going to dive into candid conversations about conquering challenges, embracing our unique selves, and finding success in the beautiful mess of it all. We are here this afternoon with my guest, Jared Ringel. How are you today, Jared?
I'm well. Stacey, how are you?
I'm fine. Can you tell us the name of your company?
Sure. So I work for a company called Compass Real Estate, which is a publicly traded company. I have a team of 30 people. It's called the Atlas Team, and we're based out of Boca Raton, Florida. We've been there for 4 years, and I've obviously been in the business a lot longer.
And that business would be?
Residential commercial real estate sales. I started about 10 years ago doing that in Florida. So we obviously represent buyers and sellers in the transaction of real estate.
So South Florida, particularly this area, which would be Parkland, Coral Springs, Boca, seems to have no shortage of female realtors. Do you find that you are like a unicorn in this business?
No, I'm not. There's a lot of everything. There's men, there's women, there's both. But yes, there are a lot of female realtors. Specifically in South Florida, I think there's a lot of, it's a good business for them here because obviously the weather's nice and they get to go out and look nice. And obviously, there's a lot of very smart women out there. Like, there's a lot of very smart men out there. But I think it's probably 60-40 women to men in South Florida. But they do well. They do very, very well in this business. Very well. Especially in Miami.
Do you feel like it's a hindrance to you not being
like
a
women
woman?
In general are a hindrance, or
not
women realtors are a hindrance?
Women realtors, is that?
No. I typically don't look at the sex of the person when I'm dealing with them, more the personality itself. But there are a lot of housewives that become realtors because they feel as if there's nothing for them to do, and they want to have, the interesting thing about the real estate business is not like law where there's a barrier to entry. You have to go to law school. You have to get in. You have to take the LSATs. You have to get into law school. You have to graduate from law school. You have to take the bar. Pass the bar. Then you have to get a job and know how to practice law in all these different facets. In real estate, there's no barrier to entry whatsoever. You have to pretty much have a heartbeat, and that's it.
Well, there's a test, isn't there?
It's a test, but it's an easy test, obviously, and you could fail as many times as you want. It's simple, and again, it's let me take a step back. It's not simple, but there's, you don't need to study for a very long time to pass, and if you fail, you take it again and take it again and take it again. So the barrier to entry is so low that anybody could do it. So if you decided tomorrow that I want to be a real estate agent and you were a garbage man the day before or something else, you worked as a waiter, you could also be a real estate agent, and you don't need to pass the bar or anything else. You take your course. It's 40 hours or 80. It's been so long ago, I don't even remember how long the course is, but it's on the computer. So you just click and you click and you click through, and you take the test, and now all of a sudden you and I are completely in the same business, and we're competitors. So it's tough. It's tough in that regard. It's tough. There's a lot of competition, and it definitely, that's the hindrance more than anything else. Not just women, but women and men being in the business.
Okay, so if you were not a realtor, what would you want to be doing? I'd
want to be an actor in Hollywood, or And I think that would be it. I think I'd want to be an actor. That's the one dream I never pursued, was that I always wanted to be some sort of in some sort of show business, and I never did it. And
didn't you do some stand-up comedy?
I did. I graduated from Rutgers University. So, and you're from
Jersey.
You're from Jersey, right there as well, right? Mm-hmm. Edison, right?
I am.
Okay, so Rutgers has, if you remember, the Stress Factory.
Yes.
Okay, so they did open mic night, and I did open mic twice. Both were total failures.
In that nobody laughed?
No, everybody laughed, but I think it was more like I brought in the audience. Okay. So it was more of a forced, like, I'm your friend, so I have to laugh at your joke.
Like when people come see me sing, it's just all friends.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen you sing, you do a great job, but but you also have people that aren't your friends there. It was all my friends.
Okay.
So the jokes were terrible. Again, I didn't do a lot of pre-work writing it, so the jokes were bad, but everybody laughed. It was great. And then that was the end of my career. That was it. It was very short-lived. And then I graduated from school and did 5 different things. I worked in commercial real estate in New York City. I worked in finance and all these other little things. And then September 11th hit, and I went back to bartending, which was fun, which I should probably still do today because it was more fun than anything.
More lucrative.
It probably is nowadays. And then, got married, lived in New Jersey, had kids, moved down here in 2013. And then at the time I was in a different business. I was in the online retail business. So we were one of the first resellers on Amazon at the time. So like what you see today on Amazon, it was like a 1/1000th of what it was in 2009. So I started out selling consumer electronics and other stuff, and we did sex toys and coffee beans and everything you could imagine that was very high margin business. But then as Amazon grew, my margin shrunk, and so many other people started getting into this business. And I hate competition, like kind of like this real estate thing, too much competition. And I said, it's time to start doing something else. So then I got back into real estate here in 2013. So it's been 10 years. And like I said, I have my own team, and, I like managing people more than I like selling and, selling, because I just like, to me, I'd rather have a big team around me. And I enjoy that more than I enjoy coming in to see you and saying, I want to sell your house. Like I do sell a lot of homes, and I've done very high-end clientele. I've sold $200,000 houses, and I've sold $20 million houses.
Yeah, I was going to ask, does Compass only sell very high-end homes?
No.
So anyone can call up?
Anybody can call up, from a $40,000 condo to, I had Shaquille O'Neal as the client. He was I had his listing in Orlando, in Isleworth Country Club.
Did you sell it?
No. I was the second realtor he hired, and the first one was $28 million, and then that was too much, and he fired him because he didn't sell it, but he didn't sell it because the price was too high. So I said we should list it for 15, but we listed it for 22. I didn't make it. I was there for a year. We didn't sell it. And then he finally sold it for, I think, $11 million from the original 28. So, it's not, that's the thing. It's not always the realtor's fault. Most of the time, it's not the realtor's fault. And that's, you could get anyone that's going to come in and say, oh yeah, we'll sell your house for $35 million or $350,000, and it's only worth $30,000. So that's where the competition comes into it, and everybody's very impressionable in real estate.
We have the same situation. You can tell a client, look, your case is only worth $50,000. They think it's worth $100,000. So they fire you. They go to another lawyer, and that lawyer tells them whatever they want to hear and ultimately settles it for $25,000.
Right. So it's not you. It's at the end of the day, people are impressionable.
Right.
And that's what I see in my business as well, is, you can meet 5 realtors in your neighborhood, and 5 of them are going to give you 5 different ideas of what you're going to sell your house for. And, a lot of people don't care whether you sell it or not. They want your listing, right? So they get your listing, and now they go, okay, let's say your house is worth $1 million. They're going to come in and tell you it's worth $1.5 million. And you go, well, Jared said it's only worth $1.2 million. Well, he doesn't know. What does he know? But then they list the house and it sells for $1 million, and you're like, and you're already in. You sign, then they hold you. They're beholden to the contract. I mean, obviously you're an attorney, so you personally would be able to handle such a thing. But a lot of people keep you locked into these contracts. It's a sleazy, slimy situation sometimes when you're not dealing with professionals. Mm-hmm. I like to think of myself as a professional because I like to do the right thing.
Right now, the way the market is it better to rent or buy?
It's a really good question. It's a really good question because I'm going through that right now with a bunch of different clients that have money to purchase, but the interest rate is, the rates are north of 7% for a 30-year fix, and they're just going up from there, up all the way. I just did a deal for somebody for a property, and they're in like the 9 range, and there's mortgage people out there that want to sell you their product that'll say, I think it's marry the home, date the rate, right? So you buy your house, you get the rate, whatever the rate is,
and refinance.
9, and you refinance. But who knows when you can get to refinance? Like it could take you 7 years to refinance. But as long as it depends. If you're buying to live in the house, then date the rate, because what's the difference? So you're beholden to your monthly payments. So if you could afford $3,000 a month, whatever that gets you with the 9% rate is fine. But it depends. I don't think renting is that bad. I mean, renting doesn't ever scare me. Like if you want to get a nicer place for the same amount of money, then you rent. If you want to build equity in a home, you buy. It's 6 of one. It's how you feel, what you want to do, where you want to be. Some people don't care about renting. There's people that just say, I don't care. Like I'm going to rent and I'm good with it because I could afford $5,000 a month, and that gets me a beautiful condo in Brickell. Instead of buying with today's rates, you're buying a $500,000 house and your payment's $5,000 a month. So in Parkland, Coral Springs, even like you're not getting much anymore for $500,000. So you might as well rent because you'll be happy and you'll get what you want. So the rates are not in a great place right now, and obviously there's a lot that's going to take place in the next year or so with the election and everything else, and all these other things that people are taking into consideration that are probably insane, but it all plays in, and that's what's going on. And obviously Florida's always just crazy real estate wise.
And we happen to live in the same neighborhood. Why do you think people are constantly moving out?
Of our neighborhood specifically? That's a great question. I think a few reasons. First of all, I think a lot of people
you think they don't like that the fountains haven't worked since?
The fountains, well, I think they worked now, right? I think they just put the sign back up, the fountains. And we live in a very interesting neighborhood. We saw the values go up tremendously over the last 4 years, right? So you get people that moved in and bought a house for $600,000 and they could sell it today for $1.6 million. That's so that people are saying, okay, let me realize my gains now, but then where are they going? But people are not that bright also, in the sense that I'm not saying people in our neighborhood, but people in general, like will say, okay, like I'm going to go buy a house now. Now I made $1 million on my house. So now I'm going to buy a house for 1.6 million, but they don't take into consideration that the house they own at $600,000, they're paying $11,000 or $10,000 for taxes. They're going to buy a $1.6 million house. Now they're paying $35,000 for taxes.
And the interest rate is up.
And the interest rate is up. So like, where are you going, right? But our neighborhood specifically is a very interesting dynamic. It's an interesting place. I'm trying to put this into perspective here in the right way. What do you think about it? What do you think about why people are moving in and out of our neighborhood?
I think our neighborhood particularly seems to have a lot of transient people. Like, it's not like it was, I grew up in New Jersey like you. Mm-hmm. Your parents bought a house and they didn't sell it till you went to college, or maybe they're even still in it. Right. Here, it's like people, they go from house to house. I'm one of them. I've had 3 homes, Right. I don't know what it is. Nobody like lays their roots down in South Florida. Our neighborhood, I think, maybe has a lot of people from other countries, and they're here temporarily.
Okay. I do see that. Every home has a different like language and cuisine. I like to kind of, I put it by cuisine, because we have like at one house he makes paella, and then another house they make egg rolls, and this is real stuff. Like I have one neighbor that makes great egg rolls, and he brings over egg rolls, and then I have another neighbor that makes great paella, and he brings over paella. So I make matzo ball soup. So
right, and you're gonna have like someone making chicken marsala, tiki marsala.
Tiki masala across the street. Yeah, so you have everything, which is nice. That's nice too, but it also is like everyone's from different places also, so everyone has a different way of living, and the way that they we have all this stuff going on in our neighborhood with like kids, and everyone's mad that the kids are at the clubhouse, and to me that's why I bought a house there, so the kids could go hang out at a clubhouse and not in my backyard. But there's people that don't like that, and they're like, oh, the kids are ruining the clubhouse. So everyone's got a different opinion of what their neighborhood should look like and how people should act. And I think that's another reason why people move a lot, is because Florida's like you said, like your parents buy a house and you go to college and they sell the house. Florida, it's like, I don't like my next door neighbor, so I'm gonna move. Like I had this across the street from me. People moved in, they were in their 70s. They had a problem with everything, and 6 months later they moved because they couldn't take that there were cars on the street and this was going on and that was going on. So they said, that's it, we're moving. And like that's how insane some people are, is like it like they don't like the 6 months. Imagine living somewhere for 6 months, buying a $1 million house and living somewhere for 6 months and then moving because you don't like the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's insane. So
it's a lot of work.
And people are, I don't like moving. I hate moving. I don't like leaving the house, to be quite honest with you. But so let alone moving. But people will move, like you said, like you don't mind moving. I don't know. Why you don't like you mind moving? I don't.
I hate the whole packing up process, but I definitely enjoy purging and decluttering and getting rid of things.
Right. Okay. And your neighbors are better than mine? I don't know.
I don't know. I'll have to.
You haven't met them yet.
Yeah, we haven't spoken in 4 years of living there.
Okay. That's the other thing about Florida. Like but I think it's gotten better now. I think that when I first moved to Florida, 10 or 11 years ago, you didn't really talk to your neighbors that much. But I think now, like once COVID hit, a lot of people start to meet. And that also could be a reason why a lot of people moved. You didn't ever talk to your neighbors, and all of a sudden you start talking to your neighbors like, wow, these people suck. And then you want to move. So, that's once COVID hit, everybody became friends, and you kind of separated the men from the boys on what you want to do as far as be a friend and a neighbor or get the hell out of here.
So let me pivot here. Have you ever needed the services of an attorney?
Oh, yeah. Many times. I've had multiple businesses, so there's always when you're a business owner, there's always a need for an attorney, whether it be transactional stuff, contract stuff, litigation stuff. There's always a need for an attorney, when you're a business owner. So, and then obviously being in the real estate business, I'm constantly referring people to attorneys for real estate related issues, whether it be, again, contract disputes, closing a real estate deal, even though in Florida people don't think they need an attorney, which can go either way. If it's a simple transaction, you don't need an attorney. If it's a little bit crazier, you do. But yes, I've had attorneys in the past for multiple things.
So, it might vary for you for each type of law, but collectively, what is one of the most important things to you when you have an attorney? Some people think it's constant communication. Other people think it's, when I call, I don't want to deal with a paralegal. I want to talk to the attorney. Right.
I think that, it's interesting because what my view on attorneys also is like, you're paying an attorney, right? So I'm paying you for your service, right? So I would expect you to give me, and there's a lot of people that's like, for me, like I'm looking for a good attorney, someone that's going to do the job right. So, I don't know what you're billing per hour, but whatever it is insane. That's but that's a different story.
Well, me personally, we work on contingencies, right? So, like you almost,
right, exactly. So, but other things like you personally, right? But that's like if you're dealing with like a transactional situation, yeah, I want to speak to the attorney when I call. Like if I'm calling you, you're billing me. Like I've gotten the bills before. Like I've seen the way I'm billed every 10th of an hour. So, or a sixth of an hour, whatever program, whatever program you're using nowadays. So I see I'm being billed. So get on the phone and talk to me. Like if I call you 100 times a day, you should look at it as I'm just going to keep billing you. You can keep calling.
Like a calculator.
Just keep billing you. But and it's hard sometimes. You go through. I'm finally in a position in my life where I have a few good people that I go to for certain things. Like for instance, if I have a workers' comp claim, I know I'm going to call you guys. If I'm in a litigation situation, I have another person I'm going to call. If I'm in a transactional business situation, I have another person I'm going to call. So, I'm thankful that I've finally found good people that I could work with. But, I've definitely gone through some shitty situations in the past with attorneys, just like doctors and accountants and everything else. Like it's a give and take.
And how about hobbies? I know you're into music.
Love music. Do
you particularly like country music?
I've gotten more into country in the last 4 or 5 years, because I think the crossover has happened a lot, between country and pop and mainstream. So I do like country, but I like everything. I love music. I love listening to music. We just saw John Mayer the other night in concert. I saw Chris Daughtry the other night. Zach Brown a month ago. And
you
Morgan
saw
Wallen.
Hot Mess a couple weeks
ago.
Well,
that was the big one. I was getting to that. I saw Hot Mess and I know that Hot Mess, you were auditioning for new guitarists.
Well, yeah, we still are.
I can play the air guitar. So if somebody else plays the guitar, I could be the figure.
Like a Milli Vanilli sort of thing.
Perfect. It's perfect. Yeah, so if you want to play it, I'll pretend to strum the guitar. I actually have a guitar. If I needed to do that, I could show up with the guitar. Just somebody needs to play in the background.
Yeah, we could play like a backing track.
It's a prop. I'm a prop guitarist.
Right.
But no, I love music. I absolutely love music. I love seeing live music. There's a lot of good stuff out today.
I mean, being from Jersey, do you love Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen?
I love Bon Jovi. I love Bruce's music. I don't like what happened to him with the politic nonsense. That's my whole thing with that is, and you should take note of this being a celebrity singer, is that don't stay in your lane. You know what I'm saying?
So you don't like what the Dixie Chicks did?
No, I don't like any of it. Like, stay in your lane.
Right.
Like
actors too.
I don't like it at all. Like stay in your lane. Like if you're gonna be an actor, a musician, like you're making money doing that.
Entertaining.
Entertain people. Don't that's when I lost like Robert De Niro, all that stuff. And I'm not even talking about Democrat, Republican stuff. I'm just talking about in general. Like whatever you believe it. Don't bring me and my world into your So that's my only issue with Bruce Springsteen.
Are you a sports fan as well?
I am. I'm a big Yankee fan, and they're terrible this year, obviously. And I'm a big Giants fan, and they're terrible. And I'm a Knicks fan, and they're terrible. And so everyone's kind of terrible in my world. So I'm trying to really branch out and maybe like the Dolphins a little bit, even because they won a couple of games. But yeah, I love sports. I love music. I like others. Like I train jiu-jitsu like a little bit, and I'm a big gun person. Like I went through a big gun phase during COVID where we were shooting a lot of guns and training in that space. So I love cars. Like I'm a big car guy. I go through a lot of cars. I think I've helped you with some salespeople. I like that's why I do enjoy that. By the way, I enjoy buying cars. That's a fun thing for me. Like talking to like dealing with the whole system of buying a car is like. To me, it's like a game almost,
It's very much, I tell my clients when we're at mediation, I'm like, think of buying a car.
Yeah.
You give what you want to pay, they tell you what you have to pay, then they talk to some guy in the back.
Yeah, the mediator.
Right, and you eventually arrive at a price. That is exactly what a mediation is in a workers'
I've been in a mediation before. It's through a real estate commission, actually. Somebody screwed me over a real estate commission for like $80,000.
So did it settle?
Yeah, but I knew the game though, and I knew. But you also have to it's like a case. Like you have to know where your case lies. Like if you have a case, you know that you got to take something, that a bad offer.
Right.
But I knew I had a really strong mediation case because everything was there for me. So
you were the plaintiff?
I was the plaintiff. I initiated the action. Mm-hmm. Right? That would make me the plaintiff, right? So I initiated the action, and it was over Zoom, and I even brought my attorney in, but I didn't need him. But I paid him because, why not have that? Why not waste money on that? But yeah, no, I know very well. But buying a car is like a mediation, correct, with the salesman being the mediator. Yeah.
So before we wrap, can you give one of your little bits from your stand-up career?
No,
Please.
I'm actually good with impressions, but I'm not going to do any impressions today. The next time,
can you do an impression of your wife?
No, it have to be on video. There have to be punching and kicking going on and yelling and screaming. No, I don't have any impressions off the top of my head.
Like
but
Seinfeld.
I love Seinfeld.
Larry David.
I love Larry David.
I love Larry David.
Like to me, like if you wanted to do like a podcast where we just talk about Seinfeld and Larry David, that could be a whole another podcast. But like that's what I would see myself being, like a Larry David. If I could do anything right now, like not real estate, I could be him. Fair
it's
enough.
Sad that we're just not living our dreams.
No, nightmares, but not dreams. But yeah, not nightmares. But I'm happy to be healthy and have healthy children, and live in
someone's
dream, and live in paradise, somebody's dream. Thank
you for your time today, Jared, and Compass Realty.
Compass Real Estate, Florida.
Real Estate,
Compass Florida. Compass Florida LLC is what we're really.
Okay, how can someone reach you if they would like to sell their home?
You can call me, 917-572-6024. I service anywhere from Orlando all the way down to Key West. I have a team of 30 that could help. You could look me up online on social media under the Atlas team, ATLAS team. Or you could just Google Compass Real Estate Atlas team, Compass Real Estate Jared Ringel. You could just Google Jared Ringel and it'll come up, and it's all there.
And what is the percentage that a realtor gets if you are selling someone's home?
Well, the total is anywhere from like 5 to 6%, and obviously you just split that between the buyer and the seller's agent. So I would make 2.5 to 3% if I sold your house, 2.5 to 3% if I bought the house. If we did both, maybe I'll cut you a deal on the other side.
Friends and family.
Friends and family, correct.
All right,
correct.
Thank you again. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Success of a Hot Mess. If you loved what you heard today, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a beat. And hey, sharing is caring. Share this podcast with your friends, family, and anyone who could use a dose of inspiration. Until next time, keep rocking those hot mess moments with style and grace. Cheers.